Okay, we're starting our next presentation. Presenter Darius Dilijonas, Chief Technology Officer at Intellerts, CTO and Head of Data Science Team, Partnership Professor at Vilnius University. Darius has a PhD degree in computer science and more than 17 years of experience working with R&D and IT systems development projects. He led as product architect and head of data scientists international projects in India, Russia, Brazil, Netherlands, Lithuania to implement advanced analytics, health tech, business intelligence, supply chain optimization projects. And Darius will talk about ICO information security management certification journey and application experiments in data science company. Please, Darius, start.
Thank you for introduction. It's very nice to participate in cybersecurity conference because I'm more related to the data science and data management. But like in all life, like there is data, there is also come security in parallel. So it's very important for us as a data science company to keep data secure because we're processing an enormous quantity of data. And today I will try to share how we basically took to our approach to implement the ISO 27001 standard, which has helped for us to become better company, which is able to apply more advanced security management systems. So I will try to share that practice. Maybe I will come more from the management point of view because I'm not a cybersecurity expert, more a data science expert, but during the journey, I gained lots of different knowledge in this one topic. For better you understand what we are doing. So basically, we're a data science company, which is implementing different type of data analytics project, which is oriented to the business intelligence, also alerting and artificial intelligence solutions, which is also connected to predictive analytics and also prescriptive analytics. So we have quite long range of different products in this one field. And we work with lots of different companies. So why we care about security? Because as you see from this, also police departments, banks, municipalities, governmental institutions. So also we even had chance to implement some projects even with the Parliament of the Netherlands. So we have quite a wide range of customers which is working in finance field, in government. So the data security is always the most important topic. And we're trying to keep it in place. And as I already mentioned, different tools and technologies which we're applying for integration, for analytics, for collaboration, for business intelligence, and etc. And we have also different products in that field. So because of that, we need to keep security in place because we're providing software as a services platforms, and everything goes through the internet. So everyone can imagine how many threats we can face when everything is basically accessible through the internet. So lots of problems, mobile apps, internet, they always causing lots of different security issues. So because that become, but I want to start also with some situation in the market, like even if we take 2021, so basically it had the highest average cost in the last 17 years with the data breaches. So it's also indicating the need for such a type of standards for such a companies like us. Also, remote work due to the COVID increased the cost. Also, lots of compromised credentials problems we see in the market. And also another one big problem is like lots of companies which is working with data analytics is migrating into cloud, and cloud migration itself impacts also increase of the cost of the data breaches. So at least the environment is not favorable for us. Lots of problems, lots of threats. Everyone is moved in like remote work. So it's very good for these bad hackers to attack, because now we have more opportunities and ways to do that. And also, if we look into the frequency and also the cost some specific data breaches, and if you look into initial attack vectors, so we see also what the biggest, probably most frequent problem is compromised credentials, also phishing attacks. Another one is misconfiguration of cloud environments and also vulnerability in third-party software components. So these are also very related to the data science companies because we're using lots of third-party software components in data science, lots of models, artificial intelligence, machine learning modules, which is implemented by a third-party companies. Also, lots of our solutions running on the cloud. So basically, we need to keep an eye on these attack vectors and possible data breaches. Also, another big problem why we need such type of standards is basically minimizing the risk of third parties in a cloud environments, because like 82% of companies provide to third parties vendors very highly privileged roles on a cloud environments, and basically 76 companies have third-party roles that allow for full county cover on a cloud environments. And also another bad problem is like 90% of cloud security teams even we're not aware about what they gave that high permission to third-party vendors. So it's also a huge big problem, because to manage the security in a cloud environment is also quite complex. And for data science, it's very important because we need high compute power. And to get that high compute power, we only can get it from cloud environments. And we need to use lots of third-party components to run these machine learning environments. So it also not in favor for us all that statistics. So that's our situation in the market. And also customer data, personal identification data, and personal identification information is very important because typically it's connected to the most like the most costless type of records that was lost or stolen in data breaches, and typically we are manipulating lots of data, so it also puts lots of importance, but that's why we took that approach, because as a data science company, where basically we're operating in a market is already more than for 7 years, but we started our journey with ISO 27001 certification just like 3 years back. And initially it was not so big problem, but now we see that we need to have these type of certificates, and we need to have process in place, and we need to have it in a proper and more higher level to be more secure. So now we took that journey, and we already have certificates more than for 2 years. So what it is like, it's quite a popular ISO standard for international standard for information security management system, which is basically brings as a framework policies and procedures, which helps to fix and put in place different things like legal things, physical and technical controls in place. So this one standard is basically fixing all things. It's not like sometimes I'm thinking about security is just to have technical tools in place to make it. If we have something like if we're encrypting data or placing input like firewalls or antivirus software, it not means what we are fully secure, because we never should forget what we have people. And in any security topic, people are always the weakest chain in a security process. So we need to take also the process in place. We need to put everything with the legal thing in place, because not only the technical parts are important also all the soft parts, which is covered also by this one standard. And if we look into all possible fields and topics, which is basically covered by this one standard, so we will see we have policies, we have asset management, we have human resource security, we have physical environment security, we have access control security, we have software deployment, different security points, incident management, business continuity, which is also important because sometimes companies are forgetting, but when the companies will get into the problems with security, someone will breach the data, the company should have a proper procedures in place how we need to react to that properly. And even in the market, we see that the companies which are having these type of problems, they don't know what to do. They're getting lost. They don't understand how to communicate, how to manage the crisis. So this one is also an important part, which is covered by this one standard. So just very quick view how that ISO 27001 standard looks like. But as for Intellerts, the implementation of this one standard, this was like strategic decision to structure all information security in company. Also, it helps for us handle information and data with more high care because we're operating with quite private data. It's also was basically very important point for us to ensure our continuity as an organization, and the data is for us is like a primary process, so we need to have in place all these things. Also, information security management system for us it's very crucial for our products and services. And also another one thing why we need these type of standards, because becoming certified is also not only makes us secure, but also shows our internal and external parties to show our ability to meet internationally accepted information security standards. So it's also very good for us helping with the sales. So it's not like security is also touching different points of organizations, touching human resource management, it's touching marketing, it's touching also technical parts. And we can see lots of benefits coming from the ISO 27001. So it's control of the risk, confidentiality of information is improved, systematic detection of vulnerabilities. So we are obligated even to use some sophisticated technologies to keep security in place. But for us, strategically, it's just fulfillment of the service level, because we have these SaaS platforms, as I already showed for you. So we need to keep them on a proper level. So we have agreements with clients on SLAs. We have agreements on the data security and the data anonymization levels. So it helps for us to keep our services in an appropriate level. Also, continuity of the services, it's very important point, and also data ownership and control. So basically it helps to keep secure everything, also global compliance and proof of our excellence on information protection. And also the scope of this one, ISO 27 standard is basically, the scope is securing our IFA platform and its components, also personnel and organization. So it's also procedures, instruction, policies, responsibilities, authorization, also keeping secure all IT assets, which we have, also putting in place all the documentation, and also putting in place security with housing and all facilities in which we basically operate. And also we have all these security streaming committees and organization. Like now we, according to GDPR, we are obligated to have like information security officer in a company. So now when we are already compliant with that standard, so we need even more. So we need to have information security officer, we need to have steering security committee. Also, we need to have monthly, weekly meetings on these security issues. We need to have security team, which is basically reacting and reviewing all the incidents. Also, it basically, when you're implementing this one standard, it touches all parts of organization. As I already said, starting from the human resource, going into the marketing, sales, IT department, everywhere. So it basically touches all the points. There is basically information and data flowing, or any basically information system are involved. So basically we need to apply some rules and to make information secure. But if to look into the timeline, how it went for us, so we started in 2019 preparation project. Then also we not started like from empty sheet, because even in previous years we did lots of security. So for us it was much more easy, but we took like different practices. We took the ITIL and we took different ITIL practices, which was already implemented previously in organization. Also, we did lots of preparation of materials, as you saw, lots of different topics is involved. And also always what is good, what typically companies are forgetting, and sometimes even when you are not obligated to do external penetration testing, you are not doing that. Even we was thought what initially it was interesting point, because we thought what we internally did the penetration testing by ourselves. And we thought what basically we will be able to cover all possible problems. But when we hired external penetration testers, they was able to find additional problems, maybe not a critical, but some medium, low level. But even what that situation shows, but no one can probably able to make it secure. We always will need someone externally to come and to do always penetration testing for us, because when you're starting to boil your juice, you're always not seeing some obvious problems with your IT environment and system. So it's very good approach, and it's obligated by that ISO standard to have that external penetration testing, and it helps to also rate the level at which current IT environment is running. And in 2010, basically October we had assessment stage 1. On November we have assessment stage 2, because it takes time. It's not so easy task, so all the assessment can take quite long. And it was even double challenge, because we was in the middle of a pandemic, so some of these audit procedures was done remotely. So it took additional challenge for us to do that, because sometimes it can look also like a challenge, but sometimes it's a good thing, because auditors cannot go around and check everything physically. So we can be more in control when doing all these assessments. So maybe it's even gave some advantage for us, but we was quite prepared for that. And also according to this standard, we are obligated to do penetration testing with external parties each year, and we constantly basically on a periodic way doing different pen testing internally in our company, but it's not enough. It's always need to be involved. So we did another one pen testing, and even we thought that they will not be able to find anything, but we found also some small problem with our security, and basically it goes each year. So it's very good practice, because we are obligated to keep this secure in place, and we are basically recertified almost each year. So it gives for us some deadlines from a management point of view. It's very good, because you have a deadlines and you always need to be prepared for that. So it's good to have these standards, but also what I want to point, because we are a data science company, and sometimes the needs and reality is a different point of view, because ISO that ISO information security management standard is covering very good software development part, infrastructure part, but it's not covering the real data science components, as I call it, like for forgotten security land, because it's just forming. As we know, we have lots of security problems and threats in the machine learning methods. So, and machine learning itself, it's not so easy task, and it's even more complicated with any other software component. And if to go into better my world with a data science, so why it's so difficult to make it secure? So there is lots of points, like we operate with lots of data. It's basically machine learning is mainly pure open source. It's multi-component architecture. So we always need to pay much more attention to the data which we are using, basically training, testing, and operating on machine learning system. And also because lots of code is basically open source and used over the places. So we need to understand and to ask some questions ourselves. Should we trust the algorithms which we downloaded, for example, from GitHub, or how does it work? Does it protect these vulnerable data sets which we are building up, or maybe it's that algorithm itself is neatly compromised? So we cannot ask that, because everything what's in open source community, everything changing very fast. So it's already creating lots of vulnerabilities for us. Also, ML system itself is constructed out of numerous components, and the more components we have, the more exposure we have for different type of attacks. So it's not so easy, not so easy to protect it. Also another point of view is like data science is complicated. It's by default anti-kiss. And privacy is very tricky in all these machine learning models, and basically I can say that all the machine learning systems are particularly complicated and are very prone to fail in new and spectacular ways. And it's basically anti-kiss approach is used, and sometimes I can say from my practice, sometimes it's a situation when basically machine learning involves very complicated mathematics, and it's very often the case that basically it's even poorly understood by the person who's implementing that. So we see that from the practice, because everyone can call itself data scientist. If I found something on GitHub, downloaded, played something with Python, I was able to integrate the TensorFlow deep learning method, and I can already treat myself as a data science. But sometimes these persons have no understanding how these methods are implemented and how we need to operate. So it's basically sometimes also huge problems, and also machine learning models relies on a huge amounts of data what can't possibly fully understood. So it's another, and also the privacy is very tricky in all these models, because representing sensitive or confidential data inside of machine learning methods, it's also very complicated, because if we make the data too confidential and we will apply lots of data anonymization techniques, we are losing meaning of data. So if we're losing meaning of data, the data is not applicable for machine learning models. So it's very difficult to anonymize data for these models. So there is lots of techniques, but it's almost impossible to gain the 100% anonymized data stage. So it's also quite challenging task. Also, hiding the secrets is very hard, and also untrusted and external sources. So maintaining the security of the system design requires more than simply not making the system public knowledge. So it's not like if we just hiding it, so it means that machine learning model will not be vulnerable for any attack. So in a past research, even some in transfer learning has demonstrated ability for new machine learning system to be trained from existing ones. So we know lots of different attacks can be applicable for all these models. Also, we have so-called distillation attacks, which allows an attacker to copy the or possibly proprietary behavior of the model using only the ability to query the machine learning externally. So it's very difficult to hide the know-how inside the machine learning model. So you can by calling that system to extract very confidential data, and you can start copy pasting the behavior of that model, and you can create copy of that model. So it's also what I'm pointing to. It's quite challenging to hide the secrets and information. And also machine learning system itself relies on a number of possibly untrusted and external data sources. And you can imagine if we're using lots of external data sources, so it can be manipulated by anyone. So typically when you're running a Python or R script, you can import some data sources which is placed on a library list. And it's basically anyone can put something in the data and they can destabilize all these machine learning models. So it's also quite a tricky part from a security point of view. And there is lots of known attacks and attack surfaces on a machine learning system, starting from the data manipulation, input manipulation, model manipulation, also data extraction, input extraction, model extraction. So we have lots of different attacks, which is very well summarized in BIML report, which identifies 78 risk associated with machine learning system. So it's an enormous set of different problems, and we always need to keep an eye on all of these problems. So it's not like sometimes everyone thinks, okay, software is a software, but you need to understand that data science and machine learning software components is even more complicated. And it has more security issues and problems, which I listed here. So it's like a top 10 machine learning security risk, like adversarial example, data poisoning, online system manipulation, transfer learning attack, data confidentiality, data trustworthiness, reproducibility, overfitting, and coding integrity, output integrity. So we could do lots like with overfitting, we could take like a chatbot, we could attack chatbot with a similar question, and we can shape the chatbot to think basically what the information which we are providing is correct. So we can basically put that system into a overfitting stage. So it's or if we take like transfer learning attacks, so we can manipulate like this one in an image. We can manipulate with some visual representation components in for a deep learning methods, and what we get as a final result, we will manipulate and we will get what the pig is basically a liner. Or we can get even into more complicated problems, like a stop sign will be recognized as a max speed. And you can imagine what type of consequences you can have if it will be like a self-driving car, which will not react to these signs. So it's very, very tricky attacks which can be applied on these machine learning models. And we as a data science company, we are taking different approach. We say we are data scientists, so we need to have business communication skills, we need to have math skills, we need to have statistics skills, computer science programming skills, but we are saying also at Intellerts, but we need also to have security fundamentals for each data scientist. It's a crucial thing. And we say we need to inject all that basically security into data science thinking. It's not like applying only techniques, but also training people, changing approach, how we dealing with data, where we're storing data, how we're operating with data, how we're organizing everything. Because it's always in a data science, lots of depends not only on technologies, also depends how people are working with data, because typically we getting lots of data sets, and in a real life, even if companies are stating what we advanced, we're using lots of like data lakes, data warehouses, but in reality, when we're doing the data science projects, we get bunch of Excel sheets, lots of CSV files. And when we getting CSV files, definitely it's even not encrypted. The private information is not hidden. So it's lots of threats. Even the companies with which we are working are not understanding that. So it's like even we have project, we're asking for some specific data, and companies are saying, okay, for us was easier to provide all data for you. And we are always saying we need just data which we agreed. We don't need all data. And sometimes companies are giving all information for us. Even if we're working with banks, sometimes we can get all the financial transactions with credit lines, with the owner's information, with the valid dates of these credit cards, and then banks sometimes are not thinking about how we're exposing data. So because of that, it's basically we putting all the responsibility on us. So we need to keep in place all that security stuff, and also to summarize all our approach which we took. So we took different steps. Like from me, recommendation always will be when we are started on that roadmap, so we defined the most relevant processes and practices to apply, and we was applying it in our daily life. It's not like putting everything on paper, but also we started applying it. We took the agile way of working. We're always following the principle, keep it simple and stupid, and then we improving it. And we're always following principle, never invent. If something is already available in the market, we need to adopt these practices, like ETL, OWASP, CSS controls, secure software development lifecycle models, BM, DA, ML, interactive machine learning risk frameworks. So we need to apply these practices. So it's not like we should invent something. We always need to take from community knowledge. Also the management of all that process of documents, planning, performance measurement, and controls. So we use different tools for that to automate all the processes like Jira, Genius, Confluence, Zabbix, and even more. So, and also important point was to create habits for employees and routines to use these processes and procedures. It's not like sometimes everyone thinks if company is applying ISO standards, so it's basically done only on the paper. Not. We took approach what we need to implement these processes and start using them. So this one is also important. Also, we established a set of KPIs, dashboards, weekly reports, which was enabled us to monitor our progress. And also, if we was doing some mistakes or we was finding some problems, we was trying to spot on them, work on them, solve on them. It's not like if we getting into problems, so we are skipping. Not if we see the problem, we immediately solving that. And it's always like continuously improvement on these problems. And if process or procedures are failing, so we need to investigate an improvement. We need to test these processes. We test for resilience and resistance. And we are not waiting until it will fail. It's always testing internally, iterating from a small agile process and improving and growing with all that. And as I already said, we took that when we was implementing all that standards, we took two routes. So it was like a formal procedural part, which is required by a standard. So it's prep of procedures, process changes, adaptations, some review testing, and also we took the more technological way, development of integration security management process, so research and training of internal security and support. And we dedicate a time for people to prepare and improve understanding of the security, establishing ideal procedures, then starting from the zero trust principle. So it's basically, we took all the access rights from all the people, and we only gave what should be given for them. So we took control immediately after that. Also, internal processes hardening. So as I already told, internal penetration testing. We are running it internally. We are scanning different vulnerabilities, doing different security assessments. So it's also very important to create these habits in organization. And also, we started doing, as we saw it, the phishing attacks causing problems. So we internally, with our security team, starting doing phishing attacks on our employees. And you will not believe, but we are successfully collected some data of our employees. So it's also very good training when we was doing these attacks by ourselves on our people. So we are making them aware, and after that we have the full list which employees are not ready and not understanding what is basically phishing attacks. And after that we was running training for them and making them prepared for a real phishing attacks. So it's also very good when you're applying it on your organization itself, because it's good to hack by yourself when you will be hacked by anyone from outside. And also we are running internal security audit by ourselves even before that certification. So we have that practice at least a couple of times a year. We are doing this type of security audits by ourselves, and we're checking if all procedures are working in place and we do not have any problems. Yes, probably I'm already out of time, so I'm giving control to the host of this conference.